Hi everybody, my name's Janine Tait and I am the founder of Bestow Beauty. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Bestow, we're a wellness brand. So we're focused on treating the skin from the inside with nutrient-rich formulations. So I've been doing this forever. I am a qualified beauty therapist. I'm a qualified nutritionist. My mentor before me, she'd been doing this for 60 years. So we're like the OG of ingestible skincare brands. So today, what I wanted to talk about was, why do you want to work from within? The first reason is that you get great results because beautiful skin begins from within. So most of us are using skincare products topically, having treatments, and if you add the internal aspect, you're going to get a better result because you're able to change the skin on a cellular level. You're able to make sure that those nutrients, or those cells, get the nutrients that they require, and they'll be able to produce more anti-aging structures, and your skin is going to be stronger and more resilient. So it's really important to work in a really holistic way with the skin, and then you've got all your bases covered. The other reason we want to work from within is because you have the opportunity to address gut health. Now, that probably doesn't surprise you because there's so much research about the importance of gut health, and I'm a little bit obsessed with gut health at the moment because it affects everything: our immunity, the levels of inflammation in our body, our rate of aging. So it won't surprise you to learn it also affects the skin. And there's quite a direct connection between the state of the gut and the health and beauty of our skin when it comes down to the rate of aging of our skin, how strong our skin barrier is, so how susceptible it's going to be to the threats in the environment. All of that is affected by gut health. But the other thing that we're discovering is that a lot of skin disorders also have their root in the problems with the gut. So things like acne, rosacea, eczema, we know we can't get a good result with them without working from the inside as well. So really important to address our gut health. Another key aspect of working from within is you have the opportunity to help your body balance hormones. Now, hormones have a major effect on the skin, and we see it every day, whether it's the acne of the teenage years or the annoying breakouts with the menstrual cycle, or possibly some people experience quite rapid aging during perimenopause and definitely through menopause. So all of those things have one thing in common, and that is a problem with the hormones. And it's easy to assume that you can't do a lot about that, but that actually isn't true. There's lots of little lifestyle and dietary things we can do to help our body balance our hormones, because it doesn't want unbalanced hormones either. So if we just give it support and we give it the space and the encouragement, it will balance out its own hormones. So one of the key things of that is, again, going back to gut health. It's really important that we eliminate every day, and that helps eliminate waste hormones, and it also helps support these little microbes, these little helpful bacteria in our gut that help our body balance hormones. It's called the estrobolome. So a lot of research is being done on it at the moment, but it is so amazing how we can very simply help balance our hormones. And we had a really timely reminder of this last year. One of my key staff members, Holly, she's never had a great experience with her hormones, but last year it started getting really bad, and she was in quite a bit of discomfort at certain parts of her menstrual cycle. So much so that she went and saw the GP, and he said, based on the severity of your symptoms, I think we'll start investigating whether you have endometriosis. So of course she came back to work and said, wow, okay, what can I do? If I have endometriosis, is there anything I can do to help support my body? And I said, absolutely, you have to get back on your Bestow, because she'd fallen off the wagon a little bit. And so we made sure she was having it at home, and that there was products here at work so all of the staff could access them and have their Bestow drinks every day. And within 2 months, the symptoms had disappeared, so much so that the GP said, I don't think you have endometriosis. So that was a really good, timely reminder of how much you can actually do by just supporting the health of your body to balance your hormones. And certainly that flows onto the skin as well. And lastly, and most importantly, is you can maximize the functioning of the skin by making sure that you don't have any nutritional deficiencies. So the skin here and the nails are some of the first parts of the body to reflect any nutritional deficiencies. So often we know about them with our nails, you know, if we've got ridges in our nails or dry, cracked cuticles or white spots, that we know we are nutritionally deficient. And it's the same with the skin. It's not always as easy to see, but a lot of therapists who are educated in the way that I've been educated, we can see those nutritional deficiencies in the skin. So it's really key that we help make sure that our skin has everything it needs to function well. And every cell in the body will benefit from that, of course, but there are two main cells in the skin that will benefit particularly well from making sure that those nutrients are there. And one of them is called the fibroblast and one of them is called the keratinocyte. So let's have a little dive in and look at these cells and what they do for us and how we can support them. So first one is the fibroblast. So he's a very interesting little cell. He lives deep within the dermis of the skin, which is the mattress of the skin. And he is responsible, a very important cell, because he's responsible for making our collagen and elastin, which are our anti-aging fibers. They give our skin its stretch and bounce and make sure that our skin looks youthful. And of course, our high hyaluronic acid, which forms about 80% of the things called GAGs, glycosaminoglycans, which are found in this area and give it the plumpness and the bounce and the moisture in the skin. So this cell is responsible for making those three key things. So very important anti-aging cell. But of course, in order to produce those things, he requires a lot of raw materials. And these are all the nutrients we have to supply this cell with in order for it to just produce collagen alone, let alone the elastin and the high hyaluronic acid. So he needs copper, calcium, zinc, magnesium, iron, silicon, selenium, vitamins K, E, D, C, a whole lot of the B complex, bioflavonoids, and also two really important amino acids that we get that are proteins, proline and glycine. They form the backbone of the collagen. So all of these things have to be present in order for us to produce collagen. Now, it's really easy for us to assume, and I think we're led to believe with advertising, that our little cells get very lazy, especially as we get older, and that they would prefer to do anything else other than make these beautiful anti-aging structures for us. So we have this idea that we have lazy fibroblasts, too busy playing on their phone to turn all these nutritional building blocks into our collagen fibers. But in actual fact, we're learning that this is not the case, and that in actual fact, part of the problem is that these cells are undersupplied. They want to do the work. They're keen to do the work. They want to make the collagen and the elastin and the high hyaluronic acid, but they just don't have the building blocks. And unfortunately, they only have to have a deficiency in one of the nutritional building blocks. They could have all of the others in abundance, and it can really affect how much collagen they can produce. And there's been some really interesting research done on this not long ago, and it was done by medical researchers, and they were looking for an answer to osteoarthritis. So one of the things that contributes to the pain and the symptoms of osteoarthritis is a lack of collagen in the cartilage of the joint, and that contributes to the pain of osteoarthritis. So these researchers were trying to look for a solution to this. And interestingly, instead of looking at how they could stimulate the cell into producing more collagen in the cartilage, they actually decided to look at what that cell could be lacking that could be inhibiting its ability to produce collagen. And interestingly enough, they chose the proline and glycine to study first. So the proline and glycine, if you remember, were the two amino acids that form the backbone of the collagen. Now, until recently, we used to think that there was never any deficiency of proline and glycine in the body because they're considered to be non-essential amino acids. So when you look at proteins and they break down into their amino acids, they can either be considered essential, you absolutely must get them from the diet, and vegetarians and vegans will be very aware of what those essential amino acids are and what foods will provide them. And then you get the non-essential amino acids that can be made by the body from the essential ones. So hence we thought, well, proline and glycine, they're non-essential, our body can make them and it will make them in whatever quantity we need them in. But it was recently discovered that our bodies are not very efficient at making these amino acids, and so often we don't have enough to meet our biological needs, and our diets are often not particularly rich in these amino acids. They can be harder to get in the abundance that we need them in. So these researchers, realizing this, thought, well, maybe it's the proline and glycine, maybe we're not getting enough of it, and our little fibroblasts are the cells that our body is choosing to deprive of these amino acids, and in order to provide other important cells with these amino acids. So maybe that was affecting the fibroblast. So what they did was they started feeding fibroblasts in little petri dishes more proline and glycine, and sure enough, these cells doubled their production of collagen. They didn't need any stimulation, they just needed feeding. They were like, please give me proline and glycine. So this was a great demonstration of how making sure that our body has enough nutrients can result in quite a dramatic change for our body, because these little fibroblasts are found in our skin and they produce collagen for our skin as well. And actually, I was slightly incorrect in telling you that fibroblasts were producing collagen in the cartilage. They're called chondrocytes. So they're different cells, but they work in exactly the same way as the fibroblasts. So these researchers basically said, what's working for the cartilage to produce more collagen, we're very likely to think that it will work for the skin as well. And another interesting thing is your collagen powders, how they work is they provide proline and glycine. So that's how they improve the production of collagen in the skin. So as I say, we need to make sure that these cells have everything that they need to produce these important structures. And if we do that, make sure they get enough proline and glycine by taking our collagen powders, then we're going to produce enough collagen and we're going to have super fibroblasts. We don't need to stimulate them or do anything else to them. We just need to feed them, because alternatively we have an undersupplied fibroblast and he's not going to do his job. So that's one of the ways that working from within can make a huge difference to the health and beauty and the anti-aging of our skin when we're working with fibroblasts. So now let's have a look at the keratinocyte. So the keratinocyte, he lives down here in the epidermis of the skin. So this is the upper layer of the skin, and here we have the stratum germinativum. And this is where our keratinocytes are produced. They multiply and are reproduced in this area. And they're the only cell in the whole of the upper layer of our skin that actually gets fed by the blood supply. So it's really important at this point that our blood has all of the nutrients that those cells need, because they're going to fill up with nutrients at this point, because this is the last gas station before they head north. And there's no blood supply up through here, so the cells up here, once they've moved past this level, they will not be able to make up any nutritional deficiencies. And that's why, if you cut yourself and get a paper cut, it can be quite painful, because nerves come up into this area, so we can damage a nerve, but we don't bleed because we haven't gone deep enough to get down into this level. So it's really key that we make sure that these cells are fed with everything they need, and they need things like, for instance, zinc. Zinc is really important, and a lot of people are deficient in zinc. And what zinc does is it makes sure that we have a lovely, strong skin. So if you're low in zinc, you'll find that you have slow healing, fragile skin that's a little bit more reactive to the environment. Another important nutrient is calcium. That's really important for cellular communication. And another important nutrient would be essential fatty acids. That having your oils, your good quality oils like your Bestow Beauty oil, is really key because it's going to make sure that the skin barrier is lovely and strong and the skin is able to protect itself from the aging, damaging effect of the environment. So our little keratinocyte, once it's been fully fed, if it's got all of those nutrients, it's going to make its way up through the stratum spinosum, go through its transition to die and become a dead cell in stratum granulosum, and then finally it reaches stratum corneum and it will move up through here, and by the time we get to the surface of the skin, we want it to be a strong, resilient cell. And if it's got all its nutrients, it will be, and you will have a beautiful, strong roof to your skin, and that is going to protect all of these vulnerable cells beneath. So you can see the importance of the keratinocyte, really key for producing a lovely, strong roof to our skin. So those are our two cells and how important it is to nourish the skin from within. And hopefully that's given you a really good idea of why it's important to work holistically with the skin. We absolutely need to be protecting our skin on the surface. We need to be treating it with our professional treatments, but we also need to be feeding it from within. So I hope you enjoyed that session, and I look forward to joining you again in our next educational